the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Canfield.
Here.
Councilmember Hodges.
Here.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember Thielander.
Here.
And Mayor DeVore.
I'm here. I would like to congratulate and swear Mr. Canfield into City Council.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of City Council Member
the duties of the office of City Council Member
in and for the City of Lowell,
and and for the City of Lowell,
County of Kent,
the County of Kent,
State of Michigan,
the State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
And with that, I will look for a motion for the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would just point out one thing. That would be on the dates of our 2017 meetings, if we might consider moving the meeting from Monday, July 3rd to Wednesday, July 5th. Just thinking that some folks might be taking advantage of that and making a 4-day weekend, that maybe we would have the meeting on Wednesday the 5th. With that change, I would make a motion that we adopt the consent agenda.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Sue?
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes.
Mayor DeVore,
Yes.
Councilmember Hodges,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
and Councilmember Thielander.
Yes.
Very good. Citizen discussion for items not on the agenda. Good. How about some old business? Biodigester update.
City Council, Lowell Light and Power Board met on Thursday and took 3 actions. The first action was to revoke the discharge permit from the wastewater treatment plant for the biodigester. The second action was to direct me to work amicably towards terminating our agreement with Lowell AD for the biodigester and to begin the process of disassembling from the facility. And then the third motion was the same action for Lowell Light and Power to terminate their purchase power agreement. Since that time, we have notified Lowell AD regarding the action the City Council took on Thursday. The City Attorney was been out of the office today, so did not hear from him today, but I know we're going to be talking with him this week about the action that we need to take, and that's where we stand at this point.
Very good. Mr. Beach.
Perry Beecham, reside at 924 Riverside, Chairman of the Lowell Light and Power Board. I just want to, Sunday's paper had an article in the Grand Rapids Press about the biodigester, and it stated in there that 500,000 gallons had spilled out of the biodigester. And I just want to make a point that it's a fraction of that. I don't even, if it's a couple hundred gallons to 1,000 gallons maybe. But again, I just want to clear that up, that the press reported that it was 500,000 gallons that spilled. So just want to.
Okay, thank you. And new business, how about an audit presentation?
I'm going to defer to Sue Olin on this.
Okay.
I'd just like to introduce Doug Friedeveld of Friedeveld and Hefner, and he will be presenting the audit this evening for the City of Lowell and Lowell Light and Power.
All right, thank you. Sorry, my partner Peter is usually here, and he was planning on being here, but had another city council meeting to attend tonight, so asked if I would come here. Before I start, a little slide presentation. In the booklet on page 1 is the independent auditor's report. We come in and go through a lot of information to form an opinion on the financial statements. That opinion can be found on the bottom of page 1 of that booklet. It says, in our opinion, the statements present fairly in all material respects to the financial position of the city. So that's a good, clean opinion, certainly what you hope for when you have an audit done. So rather than page you through all the numbers in the book, I'll just point out a few of the highlights by slide, by pictures, and we'll go through it that way. Okay, the first couple of slides here are your governmental activities. That includes all the activity of your general fund, the street funds, the endowments, basically everything except the utilities. So you can see there that there's a negative, the green line on the bottom is your unrestricted net assets. And for the last couple of years that went negative. That's primarily due to the implementation of the pension reporting standards, which were implemented in 2015. And you can see it's continued to go down a little bit more for 2016. That's driven by that net pension liability that's in your financial statements at this point, which again was implemented in 2015. I'm going to do it next. Thank you. This next slide is the expenses and revenues in the governmental activities. This slide primarily shows you where the property tax and state shared revenue is spent. The red line represents direct program revenues for each of the functions. You can see the highway and street number there is higher than the expenses. That's because in these statements they're full accrual basis, which means the capital assets get capitalized. So they're not expenses. So don't let that alarm you. But you can see most of the property tax and state shared revenue is spent for public safety, some for public works and general government. Okay, this next graph is the revenue by type, and just 5 years of trend information. You can see grants, of course, jump up and down. The charges, the state shared revenue, and the property taxes have remained fairly consistent. It was nice to see property tax bump up a little bit for the last couple of years after it was down for a few. In the operating grants that jumped up this year were primarily the result of some foundation revenue as well as some local street money that was used on streets. Thank you. And now these are just some of the individual funds, the fund balances within those funds. The red line is the general fund. You can see that's been a nice steady increase for the last 5 years, which we show on the graph here. Major streets is also up for the year, and local streets, there was some work done on some of the local streets, so that took a little dip this year, and that's fine. It still retains a fund balance of about $47,000. The general fund, and if you want to look at it in your books, it's on page 45, is where these numbers are coming from. But the general fund at the end of the year is around $780,000, just over. It increased $97,500 for the year, which is a nice increase. It was actually budgeted to be a decrease of $67,500, so you finished $165,000 ahead of where you were actually budgeted. So a very good year with some good budgeting going on in the general fund, so that's terrific. These are the business type activities, the next few slides, and that is the water, the wastewater, the electric utility, and the airport funds. You can see the red line, the amount invested in capital assets has been on a steady increase, and that's good. That means that that line goes up when you invest in capital and when you pay your debt. So those two items combined keep driving that line up. That means you're exceeding your depreciation in those funds. Unrestricted goes up and down. There's reasonable increases in all except the airport fund, which had a very small decrease, so everything was up. The restricted line on the bottom, the green line, that's money set aside for some of the revenue bond payments, which is required by the bonds. And these next few slides are strictly the light and power. We did meet with the Light and Power Board several weeks ago and went over a lot of information in detail, but just to give you a very high-level overview, you can see for the last several years, revenues exceed the expenses by a small margin, so that's good, and you can see it's just kind of a steady increase year after year. This is the change in net assets or the net income of the electric utility for the last 5 years. I can see last year was a very big year, and this year down a little bit, but still an increase of about 600,000. And then this one, the only emphasis on this is that most of the expenditure is for purchase power. All the other expenses are pretty even, and you can see the purchase power fluctuates up and down from year to year. So. And this is just a fun little graphic. This is the general fund balance as a percentage of expenditures and transfers for all the cities that we currently audit. They're arranged from the largest budget to the smallest, so you can kind of see where you fit. For this graph purposes, the way we calculate it, so everything's similar, Lowell's at 30%, and that's a very good level. In the audit report, it's reported that you're at 26%, and that is only the unassigned fund balance. And we have a rule of thumb to try to keep it right around 25. I don't know if there's a specific policy for the city, but 25% is about 3 months worth of expenditures. That's the right level of fund balance to have in our opinion. So looking good, and that's all I had to report.
Thank you. Discussion on that? Aaron, how about a verbal presentation?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Recently, Lowell Lake Power entered into a participation agreement with MERS, Michigan Municipal Employee Retirement System, for them to allow employees to create 457 deferred compensation plans. These are tax-deferred voluntary retirement supplement programs that employees can establish for themselves to assist them with retirement. There was an interest for city employees to be allowed to participate in this program. Recently, we had a representative from MERS on site to discuss the program with employees. There was significant positive interest from employees to participate. In order to begin participation from MERS, we need approval of the attached MERS 457 participation agreement by City Council. This involves no investment from city funds. In addition, there might be some nominal employee staff time for payroll purposes, so this is at little or no cost to the city to participate. And I'm recommending that the City Council approve the MERS 457 participation plan as presented.
I'll make a motion that the City Council approve the MERS 457 participation plan as presented.
I'll support.
A motion and a second. Discussion? Sue?
Mayor DeVore,
Yes?
Councilmember Hodges,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Telander,
Yes.
and Councilmember Canfield.
Yes.
Very good. And design engineering for South Broadway.
We received a proposal from Prine and Newhoff regarding design engineering for the Broadway Street infrastructure improvements. There should have been an attached letter. Did everyone receive it?
Yes. Looks familiar.
Because I don't have it. Okay. No, that's from MERS.
That's from her. No, I didn't.
It should have been attached. I don't know what happened.
Is it this one?
Should be a proposal from, yeah, but there should be a proposal from Pride and Newhoff with it.
I have it.
Was it in there?
Yeah, cover page.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Pride and Newhoff can explain in detail, but they've submitted a proposal of a cost not to exceed $69,000, which basically is the design engineering aspects of the project up to the construction phase. And I'm going to have, I thought Brian was going to be here this evening, but I guess he's not. You're Brian? Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
I'm John Burklank with Prine and Lowell. Yeah, so recently the City Council approved the infrastructure bond as part of the work that's going on right now. Right now you've probably seen the construction out there for the replacement of the lift station and the trunk sewer from the old lift station to the new lift station. This work is the continuation of that. The new trunk sewer from Main Street south along Broadway down to Post, actually about Ottawa, and then it connects over to the new trunk sewer. And then it also, as part of this, will have a new water main from Main Street south on Broadway down to Bow Street. And then that will both create the new trunk line sewer and the improvement from the existing 4-inch water main to the 12-inch water main.
We're pretty familiar with most of this, and
Yes.
it's been presented to us a couple of times, and if we weren't, chances are we would not have passed that $3.5 million bond. So, and I think to make all that happen, the work is necessary, so it all makes sense.
Very good.
So if you're looking for a motion, I would do so, that the city council approve the Green and Newhoff to begin the design engineering aspects of the Broadway Street infrastructure project at a cost not to exceed $69,000.
I'll support.
Motion and a second, discussion. Sue?
Councilmember Hatches,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember T.
Yes.
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes.
and Mayor DeVore.
Yes. All right. Board reports. Jeff?
Historic, let's see here. The historic district is changing to December 20th. I believe so instead of the 27th this month, it'll be the 20th downstairs at 6 o'clock.
Mr. Hatch?
Well, the Lowell Cable TV Board met last week on Thursday. I was tied up with another meeting that kind of conflicted with my moment, but its purpose that night was to set the schedule for applications and the review of those applications, as well as setting dates for allocations. So it was just the scheduling aspect of it. And unless Dennis, am I wrong? Dennis Kent is our chairperson, and of course he was at the meeting, and maybe he could fill us in on anything else that may have happened.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you. Dennis Kent, 1700 Faith Drive, Chair of Lowell Light and Power, Lowell Cable TV Board. Anyway, we established the balance that we have for this year, which I believe was somewhere around 120,000 to distribute, and we set up we're going to advertise that twice in December, possibly going into January. And then we'll have a deadline of somewhere, I'm doing this from memory, but have the second Friday in February, with the intent of making decisions somewhere toward the first week or so of March, so that we can get it to the city council in mid-March, so that people can get going, in particular on projects that are kind of weather dependent and want to start them earlier in the year. Any questions? I'll try and answer them. Good, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you. And that's all I have. It's early in the month, so I'll be attending other meetings later.
Very good. Great.
Nothing.
Now,
I have nothing. Light and Power meets on Thursday.
and I don't have anything either, so we'll go to the manager report.
Okay, I have a couple of items. The first one is regarding food trucks. There is a new business that is utilizing food trucks to supplement their business, and it's been brought to my attention that there might be concern regarding that. From what I've learned at this point is actually technically our ordinance does not allow for it. And however, this is something that as the city continues to grow, as downtowns continue to thrive, this is something that we probably at least need to look into to determine what type of action we may want to take. So I plan in January, at the first meeting in January, to be able to provide some research for the council. We can have a discussion on this matter. Dr. Lou Bender will be here for the council facilitation on Friday, January 20th from 5:30 to 8:30, and on Saturday from 8:30 to 8 to noon. Both will be at Lowell Light and Power. Also in January, we're going to be looking at the current bow hunting ordinance on 10 acres of property. Currently, the ordinance does not allow for a crossbow. That's correct. Correct. It does not allow for a crossbow, and there's been a request for the council to reconsider revising the ordinance to allow for that. So I will bring that to the January meeting. Also, the phones. Recently, I believe at the November 7th meeting or the November 21st meeting, the City Council saw a proposal for the introduction for us to consider the voice over internet protocol phone system. And I have asked the Lowell, Steve Dr. Sloop and Steve Buchla to start moving forward with that. I was actually kind of waiting to hold off maybe for budgetary constraints. However, we've received notice that our fees for AT&T are going to be going up 15% come January 1st. They just increased our fees 15% on July 1st, and now they're increasing maybe an additional 15% on January 1st, and who knows what will happen on July 1st again if we don't start moving forward to implementing the system. And this is per Centex line, and we're paying roughly $6,000 a month for the Centex lines throughout the city. So this is something that I believe that we're going to need to start moving forward on, and we're going to work towards that. Last week we held our bond sale for the Broadway street projects. We did get a really good interest rate. I would say the average interest rate across the life of the 25-year bond was about 3.5%. However, what was stronger was actually the yield. The yield rate that came in allowed us to actually reduce our bond processing costs throughout the life of the loan. So it's something that was a very positive thing for the city, and it also helped us because of the fact that interest rates have increased quite a bit, especially in the securities market since the election, and it's something that I believe is going to keep going up. So we were able to get in a pretty decent rate at a good price for the period, for the length of the bond. So that's something to be positive about. Also, just want to wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we won't be having our second meeting in December. So that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. I'd love some board appointments. We have on here, the Light Power Board has a vacancy that I don't think is on here, and I believe the Fire Authority as well. Is that right, Sue? With Jeff being well? So we'll need to add those two. And then Board of Review, we have 2 resignations. The Building Authority has somebody currently serving. Construction Board of Appeals, I talked to Mark Munt and Greg Canfield. They both like to remain on there. So we'll just have Dan take the spot if he doesn't want to. The LCTV Endowment Board, Mark Munt will continue on that as well. I will continue on the Lara Board. Terry, do you have anybody for Paula? Any ideas for Paula?
No.
Okay, she wants to continue?
As far as I know.
Okay, that's what I thought too. So we need to fill that Fire Authority spot.
I'm willing to serve on that as a council representative.
Absolutely. Any opposition to that? Okay. And then Mr. Chambers, you were looking to get on the Light Power Board, correct? Still interested in that?
Yep.
You guys have any objection to that?
No.
Okay, that one's off the list. And
Congratulations.
I guess we can table the remaining. I'll make contact with the people I haven't talked to yet that are currently serving. And then should we have any applications for the Board of Review spots at all?
No, we don't.
We'll put a notice out, maybe open that up. Okay, then we'll look at that in the first meeting in January, see if we have any applications for that. Okay. Any objections to moving on?
Wait, so Marty's official, so he can start this Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, thank you.
Council comments? Jeffrey?
I'd just like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Mr. Hodges.
Terrific newsletter, got it with my water bill. Thank you. Anyway, nice picture of Mr. Canfield, as well as a bunch of other great information about what's going on in our community. So, and with that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Mr. Canfield.
Glad to be on the council. Look forward to working with a great group of people and wish the community happy holidays.
Alan.
Congratulations, Greg, and wishing all of you a happy holidays.
All right, and Merry Christmas, and that's all I have. I will entertain a motion to go to closed session.
So move that we go into closed session for personnel matters.
I'll support.
Any discussion? Sue?
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Telander,
Yes.
Councilmember Canfield,
Yes.
Mayor DeBoer,
Yes.
Councilmember Hodges.
Yes.